Next, Hungary will not take part in further NATO-led efforts to coordinate security assistance and training for Ukraine. It was announced at a joint news conference between the Hungarian Prime Minister, Viktor Orban, and the head of NATO, Jens Stoltenberg, in Budapest. Mr. Orban is Moscow's closest ally in the European Union. Mr. Stoltenberg said Hungary had agreed not to oppose expected measures at a forthcoming NATO leaders summit in Washington, including a long-term financial pledge for military support to Kyiv.
Prime Minister Orban has made it clear that Hungary will not participate in these NATO efforts, and I accept this position. And I'm glad that today the Prime Minister and I have agreed on modalities for Hungary's non-participation in NATO support to Ukraine. No Hungarian personnel will take part in these activities, and no Hungarian funds will be used to support them. At the same time, the Prime Minister has assured me that Hungary will not oppose these efforts, enabling other allies to move forward.
Speak to our correspondent in Western Hungary, Nick Thorpe. Hi, Nick. So we heard things like modalities for non-involvement, I think it was there, from Jens Stoltenberg. Can you put it in plain English for us? What has been agreed here?
Yeah, sure. In plain English, basically, NATO's playing a much bigger role than before. Until now, we've had individual NATO countries supporting Ukraine in different ways, with training, for example, with military supplies. Hungary's stayed out of all of that. But now, with uncertainties over what happens in the United States in the election in November, what's happening in Europe now, with France in trouble, President Macron in trouble, often debates within Europe, basically NATO's stepping into the breach there and taking a much more important role in, as the NATO Secretary General, coordinating military support, training and finances for Ukraine. But Hungary's been blocking that. Hungary says it's a mad scheme. So Mr. Stoltenberg came to Budapest basically seeking the guarantee he got that Hungary would not block those changes in NATO's approach to Ukraine, while at the same time Mr. Orban was asking for and got the guarantees that Hungary, which insists it's still a loyal and committed member of NATO, but will not be drawn into paying anything for military supplies or support for Ukraine, or in any way for taking part, even sending soldiers or using its military side, so military or money. So in a way, Mr. Stoltenberg and Mr. Orban, both of them got what they wanted today.
And just flesh out a bit, Mr. Orban's priorities, what he was looking for, what calculation is he making?
The calculation here is really, he's set himself up, really, he's going against the whole flow of all other 31 members of NATO. He sees that the current involvement of both the EU and especially of NATO in supporting Ukraine is leading Europe, leading the world into a third world war. Basically, he said that to his electorate. That was his main campaigning promise, if you like, or slogan in last Sunday's European elections. And so he represents himself as a man supporting peace in Europe and says everyone else is going the wrong way. Of course, that's got a lot of anger from other NATO members. There's discussion in diplomatic circles of denying Hungary intelligence information, because Hungary is now seen very firmly, really, as an ally of Russia and a potential Trojan horse within the NATO organisation.
OK, Nick, thank you for that.